You're on the Human OS channel. Let's continue decoding Jordan Peterson's 12 Rules for Life. And today, we're diving into the final three. 3 ideas that close the book, but might open something inside you. Before we start, understand this. Every video here is not just about philosophy or psychology. It's about you, the system you run on, the code you live by. Because if you don't update your inner software, life will crash eventually. So today, we go deep. Let's start with Rule 9. Assume that the person you are listening to might know something you don't. Sounds simple, right? But this is one of those ideas that's easy to repeat and hard as hell to live by. Because everyone loves to speak. Everyone wants to be understood, validated, heard. But very few want to listen, really listen, without the shield of their own ego. I've seen it even under these videos. People drop powerful thoughts in the comments, raw, honest, full of experience, sometimes deeper than anything I said in the script. And that's the point. Wisdom doesn't wear a label. It can come from a stranger at a bus stop, from a person you underestimate, from someone you almost ignored. So here's what I want you to do before you even finish watching this video. Think of a time when someone told you something small and you realized later they were right. Write that story below. Because the Human OS community, this isn't a one-way conversation. This is the lab where we test what being human actually means. Listening, real listening, is one of the hardest forms of discipline. It means stepping outside the fortress of your opinions. It means saying, maybe I don't have the full picture. It's not weakness. It's curiosity, weaponized. Peterson writes that most people talk not to communicate, but to win. They wait for their turn to speak, not to understand. And that's why almost no one ever learns anything new. Because to learn, you have to risk being wrong. You have to make room inside your head for something that didn't come from you. When you listen like that, the world starts to open. Every person becomes a mirror reflecting a fragment of truth. Even people you dislike have something to teach you. Sometimes the lesson is how not to live. Sometimes it's deeper. It's a truth about pain, survival, or meaning that they've discovered the hard way. And here's the real paradox. When you stop fighting to be right all the time, people start listening to you more. Because they can feel the silence between your words. The kind of silence that says, I'm here. I'm paying attention. It's strange, isn't it? You spend half your life trying to be the loudest voice in the room. And then you realize the person with the most power is the one who doesn't need to talk. The rule says, assume that the person you're listening to might know something you don't. But what it really means is, stop underestimating the world. Stop thinking you figured it all out. Because the moment you do, you stop growing. Most people don't listen because they're terrified of silence. That quiet moment after someone finishes talking, when your brain starts working and your pride starts fighting back. That's the place where growth actually begins. Because silence doesn't just expose what the other person said, it exposes what's missing inside you. Peterson says that conversation isn't just about exchanging words. It's about reorganizing your thoughts in real time, while someone else's truth crashes into yours. It's like debugging your own code through another person's perspective. And if you never do that, if you keep recycling your own ideas, your mind becomes an echo chamber. Loud, comfortable, and empty. Think about the last argument you had. Did you really listen? Or were you just waiting for your turn to attack? Be honest. Most of us treat conversations like battles, not bridges. We want to dominate, not discover. And when that becomes a habit, every disagreement turns into a small war. No one wins. Everyone just digs deeper into their trenches. The rule tells us to assume the other person knows something we don't. But that assumption requires humility. And humility is painful, especially for men. Because we're taught that knowing is strength, that being certain makes you powerful. But Peterson flips that idea on its head. True power is in not knowing and still having the courage to ask. You can fake confidence, but you can't fake wisdom. Wisdom grows in the moments when you're willing to shut up, sit still, and listen. Not just with your ears, but with your mind. That's when the world starts teaching you things it never told you before. Every stranger becomes a teacher. Every story becomes a clue. And when you start living like that, something strange happens. Your ego starts dissolving. You stop needing to prove that you're smarter, stronger, or right. You start realizing that being right is cheap, but being aware is rare. It's the difference between having opinions and having understanding. Peterson once said, "When you listen, people tell you who they are." That line sounds simple until you realize how deep it goes. Every time someone speaks, they reveal their fears, their hopes, their ghosts. If you're too busy arguing, you'll never see it. But if you listen carefully enough, you can almost see the invisible battle behind their words. And sometimes, that recognition alone can heal something in them, or in you. Listening isn't weakness, it's the discipline of warriors. Because to listen is to lower your weapon and trust that the truth will defend itself. You don't lose power by listening, you refine it. Like a blade, sharpened not by noise, but by friction and silence. And maybe that's the real test of maturity. Not how much you speak, but how much you can hear before reacting. Not how many arguments you win, but how many lessons you absorb. So if you've watched this far, maybe pause for a second. Think about the last time someone spoke to you, and you didn't really listen. What did you miss? What truth could have changed your path if you weren't so busy proving yourself? That's what Rule 9 is about. It's not just a social skill, it's a spiritual reset. A reminder that the world doesn't revolve around your perspective, that life is a dialogue, not a monologue. And that brings us to something deeper. Because if listening opens the door to truth, then speaking truth is what keeps it open. That's where we go next. Rule 10. Be precise in your speech. Because when your words are unclear, your world becomes chaotic. And when your world is chaotic, no amount of noise can save you. When Peterson talks about being precise in your speech, he's not telling you to sound fancy or articulate. He's telling you to stop bullshitting yourself, to stop hiding behind vague words and half-truths. Because every time you say it's fine when it's not, you build a small wall inside your mind. And those walls eventually turn into a prison. We lie because it's easier. Easier to say you're tired than to admit you're lost. Easier to say it's complicated than to say, I don't know who I am anymore. But vagueness is poison. It spreads through your relationships, your work, your dreams. The moment you stop naming things clearly, they start controlling you. Look, you can't fix what you refuse to define. You can't solve a problem that you won't describe out loud. And yet, most men live like that. They feel a deep tension in their chest, but never trace it back to the root. They say, I'm just stressed. when what they really mean is, I'm afraid I'll fail. They say, I'm fine, when what they mean is, I feel invisible. Precision forces you to face the truth, and the truth is often brutal. Peterson isn't preaching grammar, he's preaching honesty. When your words become sharp, your life becomes clear. And that clarity hurts, but it's the kind of pain that builds strength, because clarity always cuts before it heals. Think about it. Every argument you've ever had that spiraled out of control probably started with something vague. Someone said, "You never listen," or "You always do this." That's not precision. That's chaos disguised as emotion. If you say, "When you ignored me yesterday, I felt dismissed," now you're holding the problem in your hand. You can look at it, study it, fix it. But if you just throw words like punches, you'll never build anything. Men who master their words master their lives. Because language is not just communication, it's structure. The same way you build a house with tools, you build your reality with sentences. If your words are weak, your foundation is unstable. If your speech is scattered, your purpose will be too. That's why Peterson says precision isn't optional, it's survival. When you say things exactly as they are, you transform chaos into order. Every clear sentence is a brick in the wall that separates confusion from direction. But here's the catch. Being precise means being vulnerable. Because the clearer you speak, the easier it is for others to see you, to judge you, to reject you. That's why so many men hide behind humor, sarcasm, or silence. They'd rather seem unbothered than be understood. But if no one ever sees the real you, no one can ever respect the real you either. Let me tell you something real. When you start being honest, like truly honest, people will fall away. Some won't like the new you. They preferred the version who stayed quiet, agreeable, comfortable. Let them go. Precision will cost you the crowd, but it will win you yourself. And that's a trade worth making every single time. You might lose fake peace, but you'll gain real control. You'll stop drifting through half-lived days and start naming your fears, your desires, your limits. You'll start saying, "This is what I want. This is what I can't do anymore. This is where I stand." That's what being precise really means. Defining the edges of your existence so life doesn't blur you out. And it's not just about words, it's about action. If you say you'll do something, do it. If you say you'll change, mean it. Empty promises are as dangerous as lies. Because every time you break your own word, you teach your subconscious that your voice doesn't matter. And once that belief takes hold, discipline dies. You start speaking like a ghost in your own story. Peterson's rule is a reminder to treat your words like weapons, not fireworks. Fireworks impress for a moment and then fade into smoke. Weapons, on the other hand, shape outcomes. They hit targets. They carry intention. That's how men should speak, not to sound powerful, but to be powerful. Quietly, directly, with precision. Now think about your life right now. What's the one thing you keep avoiding naming? The thing that lives in your head, unspoken, making everything heavy. Say it. Write it down. Whisper it if you have to, but give it a name. Because once you name it, it loses control over you. And listen, if any of this hits home, drop a comment. Not for the algorithm, for yourself. Say what's been stuck inside your head for too long. Someone might need to hear it. Maybe you'll even read another guy's story there and realize you're not alone in this fight. That's the point of this channel. Not perfection, not lectures. Just honest conversations that make you stronger. Here's the thing. Words are maps. And if your map is vague, you'll get lost no matter how strong you are. You can have all the ambition in the world, but if you can't describe where you are or where you're going, you'll just circle the same problems over and over again. That's why vague men live vague lives. They wake up, they move, they talk, but nothing really changes. Because change starts with definition. Peterson says that speech is the mechanism by which we bring order out of chaos. Every word you speak is a small act of creation, or destruction. You can use your tongue to build, or to blur. And most people blur. They blur their goals, their relationships, their pain, until life becomes this gray fog, where nothing feels solid anymore. But when you speak precisely, you slice through that fog. You start to see the outlines of your reality, the things that actually need fixing. You realize that your anger wasn't just stress, that your loneliness wasn't just introversion, that your lack of focus wasn't bad luck. It was you, refusing to define your condition. Precision doesn't just change how you talk, it changes how you think. Your words are the scaffolding of your mind. If they're weak, your thoughts collapse under pressure. That's why discipline always begins with language, because how you describe your life becomes how you live it. Say a man wakes up and tells himself, "I'm stuck." That one word, stuck, makes him passive. It gives him permission to do nothing. But if he says, "I'm avoiding responsibility," everything changes. That sentence has direction. It has ownership. It hurts, but it also points the way forward. Most people think they need motivation, but what they really need is clarity. You don't move because you don't know where the hell you are. You can't shoot at a target you won't look at. And that's what Rule 10 is all about. Forcing yourself to look, to aim, to speak the truth, even if your voice shakes. Men fall apart when they lose their words, when they stop saying what they mean, stop asking for what they need, stop defending what they believe. It doesn't happen overnight. It happens one vague sentence at a time. "I'm okay. It's not that bad. I'll deal with it later." And one day, you wake up realizing your whole life has been postponed. But here's the good news. You can rebuild that. You can reclaim your speech, and with it, your direction. Start small. Speak clearly to yourself. Don't say, "I need to get my life together." Say, "I need to wake up at 7, stop scrolling, go to the gym, and finish one thing I started." That's precision. And when you stack enough precise moments, life starts to take shape. Peterson reminds us that chaos is always waiting. Doesn't need to be invited. It grows wherever clarity fades. And when you stop being precise, when you start lying, exaggerating, or staying silent, chaos creeps in. Into your mind, your home, your relationships, until you can't tell what's wrong anymore, just that something is. That's why men must speak, not constantly, but accurately. Because language isn't just expression, it's alignment. When your words match your reality, your actions follow naturally. When they don't, everything starts to split apart. And a man divided against himself can't stand tall for long. So maybe this week, try something simple. Pick one part of your life that feels messy. Maybe it's your job, your health, your girl, or just the noise in your head. And instead of saying, "It's complicated," describe it. Out loud, with detail. Force yourself to see it for what it is, not what you wish it was. Because once you do, the path forward always appears. And if you want to build real strength, this is where it starts. Not in the gym, not in books, but in your ability to face reality head-on, define it, and speak it into order. That's what separates men who lead from men who drift. Peterson's 10th rule isn't about perfection of speech. It's about precision of soul. It's about the discipline of meaning what you say and saying what you mean. That's how men earn respect from others and from themselves. And as we move to the next rule, remember this. Once you learn to speak with precision, the world will push back because people are uncomfortable with clarity. They'll call you harsh. They'll say you've changed, but that's fine. Let them misunderstand you. Just don't misunderstand yourself. Because next comes the test of strength and freedom. The reminder that not all control is good, and not all risk is bad. Rule 11. Do not bother children when they are skateboarding. And that one is about courage, chaos, and letting the next generation learn to fall. You know, when you look back at everything, all the rules, all the structure, the discipline, the order, you start to realize something uncomfortable. That even if you live everything right, even if you follow every principle and build your house on stone, life still finds a way to hurt you. It's not fair, and it's not supposed to be, because chaos doesn't care who you are. And that's where Rule 12 begins. Because there's a moment when all those structures, the routines, the logic, the systems, stop helping. When something hits so hard that no philosophy can hold it. Someone dies. Someone leaves. Or maybe something inside you just collapses quietly one day, and you can't reason your way out of it. That's when you stop fighting for control and start noticing the small things that are still alive around you. That's what Peterson meant. Pet a cat when you encounter one on the street. Not because cats are special, but because they're reminders that beauty still exists, even when your mind refuses to see it. There's something sacred about small moments. The sunlight on the wall when you wake up, the sound of someone breathing next to you, the wind outside your window when you can't sleep. Tiny things that don't change the world, but somehow hold it together when everything else falls apart. And maybe that's the point. Maybe life was never about fixing everything. Maybe it was about noticing what remains when everything breaks. Because pain isn't optional, but losing yourself to it is. When chaos enters your life, it tests your focus. Will you drown in what's gone, or will you learn to see what's left? That's what separates people who grow through pain from those who get buried by it. And sometimes, the difference between those two is something as simple as stopping for a moment to watch a cat cross the street. Peterson once said, "If you can't find meaning in tragedy, you'll find it nowhere." And that's brutal truth. Because comfort doesn't build meaning, suffering does. It's where you find out who you actually are, when no one's watching and nothing's working. And if, in that moment, you can still notice something pure, something alive, then you've already won. You won't feel like it. It won't feel like a victory. But that's the quiet kind of strength, the kind that doesn't shout, doesn't post, doesn't need a medal. It just keeps going. And that's what this rule is really about. Not cats, not comfort, but endurance through awareness. Learning to keep your soul open even when the world feels hostile. Because numbness is the real enemy, not pain. Pain tells you you're still connected. Numbness tells you you've stopped living. And the only way back is to start noticing again. So yeah, maybe that's the final layer of order. Not rules written in stone, not hierarchies, but awareness. To see what's still good in a world that won't stop breaking. You can't control the storm, but you can stop and feel the rain. You can look at the mess and still say, this matters. Because every time you choose to see something alive, you push back against the void. You tell chaos, you don't get all of me. And maybe that's what it means to be truly human. Not to fix everything, but to witness it honestly. To stand there, open-eyed, while everything shifts and crumbles, and still whisper, this is beautiful. So if you're still here, watching, listening, tell me what your version of that moment is. What's the thing that keeps you from going numb? What's your cat? Drop it in the comments, because someone else might need it. You've made it this far. Through all the rules, all the lessons, all the searching, and somehow, you're still here. That already means something. Because the truth is, most people don't make it this far. They stop somewhere between comfort and fear. They start chasing distractions, or stories that make them feel like they're changing when they're just running in circles. But if you've listened, really listened, you've started to understand something deeper. That life isn't a ladder. It's not a straight line from weakness to strength, from chaos to order. It's a rhythm, tension and release, destruction and rebuilding. A constant balancing act between what you can control and what you can't. And the only thing that keeps it together is awareness, the courage to see. Because once you see, you can't unsee. You can't go back to living blind, blaming everyone else for the pain. You start to realize this world is not a playground. It's a forge. It's meant to shape you, to burn away the soft, the lazy, the false, to leave behind something harder, cleaner, more precise. A soul that can stand alone. That's what all of this was about. Not about being good or being successful. Not about building a perfect life, but about building a backbone. Something that can hold the weight of existence without breaking. Because the world will not stop throwing weight at you. Every day, there will be something that demands strength. Every day, you'll be asked, will you rise or collapse? And here's the thing. No one's coming to save you. No mentor, no parent, no God in the clouds is going to do the work for you. If you want meaning, you have to earn it. Through discipline, through sacrifice, through paying attention. Because meaning hides in small places, in doing what's right when no one's watching, in saying what you actually think when your voice shakes, in carrying something heavy just because you can. And you'll notice something strange. The more you take responsibility, the freer you become. The more weight you lift, the lighter your soul feels. It's the paradox at the center of life. Freedom doesn't come from escape, it comes from commitment. You don't find peace by avoiding pain. You find it by walking straight through it, eyes open. Look around you. Everyone's tired. Everyone's afraid. But the men who will rebuild the world are not the loudest ones. They're the ones who get up early, who stay quiet, who do what needs to be done when nobody else will. They don't need applause because they've already learned the only truth that matters, that strength is its own reward. And maybe that's what all 12 rules were really trying to tell us, that order and chaos are not enemies. They're partners in the same dance. You need both. Without chaos, there's no growth. Without order, there's no peace. You walk between them, that's where life happens. But the balance is never permanent. Every day, it resets. Every morning, you begin again. That's why discipline isn't a one-time thing. It's a way of existing. It's the choice to carry the weight one more time, to straighten your back one more time, to breathe, to speak, to act, even when you don't feel like it. Because in the end, no one remembers what you felt. They remember what you did. They remember how you stood. And that's what you leave behind. Not comfort, but character. A quiet mark on the world that says, I was here and I didn't run. So if you are still wondering what all this was for, it's for the moment you wake up tomorrow and everything feels heavy again. It's for the voice in your head that says, why bother? That's when you remember, because you can. Because the world gets darker every time someone strong decides to give up. And maybe, just maybe, you were built to be one of the few who don't. There's a kind of peace that only comes when you stop asking for an easier life and start demanding more from yourself instead. That's the kind of peace that can't be bought, can't be faked. It's forged, like iron. And every scar, every failure, every night you thought you were done, it was all part of it. The shaping, the refining, the preparation for the moment when the world needs someone who won't fall apart. So here's where it ends, or maybe where it begins. You know what to do now. You've seen enough to understand that the rules aren't the point. You are. You, standing straight. You, speaking truth. You, choosing meaning over comfort. You, noticing the beauty that survives the storm. That's human OS. That's what it means to be awake. Not perfect, not fearless, just aware. Strong enough to keep walking, honest enough to keep feeling, and brave enough to keep living, even when it hurts. Because the pain doesn't mean you're broken. It means you're alive. You've been running from yourself for too long, looking for answers in noise, in comfort, in the next distraction. But the truth is, it was never out there. It's always been you. You, the only constant in the storm, the only one who can lift the weight, speak the truth, and build the order that holds the chaos back. No one's coming to save you. And that's not a tragedy, that's the gift. Because the moment you stop waiting for rescue, you start becoming the man who saves himself. That's where life begins again. Not in perfection, not in peace, but in the quiet decision to stand one more time.